Hi cuties, my name is Hanako Kozumi and this is the channel Nerdy Nekoma. Everything here is about Haikyuu chat stories and fanfic. Thanks for joining us today. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. Welcome to today's video. It's a BokuAkaKuroKen video called Let's Not Celebrate. It's mostly fluff, but with a little bit angst sprinkled on top of it. I hope you're going to like it. Let's jump straight into it. Why are we doing this again? Kenma stared indifferently at the mountain of ingredients, bowls, and all kinds of stuff that Bokuto deemed necessary for baking. The taller had stacked everything carelessly on the kitchen counter, which made for a very interesting image. It was honestly a miracle that nothing had spilled, broken, or just so much as fallen down yet, since Bokuto's construct seemed to be a declaration of war to gravity itself. Because we're celebrating. What exactly? Don't know. Do we need a reason? That's usually how it goes, right? You achieve something and then you celebrate. Bokuto hesitated for a second. Is being born an achievement? Before continuing to place stuff on the counter. The cat-like eyes never stopped tracing his actions. Well, it's our mom's achievements, I guess. And how about Christmas or Easter? Not everyone celebrates those. But we don't have classes or work that day, at least most people don't. Kenma thought about it for a moment. If enough people agree that there is a reason to celebrate or that the day is somehow special, it's seen as special, I guess. Bokuto turned around and grinned widely. Exactly! You and I, that makes two, and therefore the majority of people present agrees that today is special. I never said I agree. Bokuto sighed dramatically. Oh come on, Kenma, this is going to be so much fun. And we didn't spend time, just the two of us, in ages. Kenma was quick to intervene before Bokuto was able to go on a tirade, not seriously, about how Kenma loved Keiji and Tetsu more than him. He didn't. Okay, but why might you think baking was a good idea? I wanted to try something new and exciting. And this way, we can surprise Tetsu and Keiji when they come home. His eyes practically sparkled with excitement. Kenma sighed in defeat. You want to surprise our boyfriends by giving them food poisoning? Ha! I bet we can make an amazing cake. They have no idea what will hit them. You are still upset because Kuroo didn't even trust us with doing soup. Bokuto pouted. But to be honest, Kenma understood where he was coming from. He lived a big part of his life with Kuroo by his side looking out for him. It never really bothered him, minus the recent events, and he was usually very content with Kuroo and Akaashi doing the cooking. However, sometimes it truly sounded like both of them thought that he and Bokuto wouldn't survive without them, and that bugged him. He frowned and got up to help Bokuto organize the chaos. The other looked at him surprised. So you have something to prove, don't you? Bokuto grinned confidently and commented Kenma's glare with his loud and energetic laugh. Either you show me the recipe now, or you can do it alone. Recipe? You want to make a cake, right? Yeah. Well, there are tons. Which one do you want? Bokuto gave him a puzzled look. Not sure. He glanced at the sculpture of ingredients to his right. You haven't prepared at all for this, have you? Nope. Kenma rolled his eyes. Hey, it was a spontaneous idea. I just grabbed anything that looked useful. The smaller slowly inspected the items and tried to make a list in his head of everything that was available. They chose a recipe based on the things they had at home. Well, almost. Since they didn't have any eggs, Kenma suggested one of the vegan recipes he found, but Bokuto insisted on the chocolate cake below that, because it looked so tasty. He ran to the closest store while Kenma cleaned up the counter again, putting away all the truly unnecessary items. He almost dropped the flour when Bokuto stormed in without warning, announcing, loud enough to spoil the surprise for Kuroo and Kichi, who were currently miles away from them, that he got the eggs. Kenma glared daggers at him. Sorry. Next time, don't just put all this random junk on the counter before you have read the recipe. Got it. Okay, first we need to preheat the oven. So far so good. You can prepare the flour. We need 225 grams. Bokuto looked around, searching. The scale is in the upper drawer to your left. Got it. Kenma read through the recipe one more time. It seemed easy enough. Everything was going smoothly. Nothing was going smoothly. This was a disaster, pure unleashed chaos. The more the blonde looked at the recipe, the more it started to look like an ancient scroll with instructions on how to summon demons. And from how the kitchen looked like, they succeeded. Everything was a mess. After Kenma spilled the first batter because the loud ringing and beeping of the oven startled him, he accidentally put in a timer instead of just turning on the heat. Bokuto got frustrated and more ingredients were spilled while mixing and scaling. The ace destroyed 3 eggs in the process before finally enough of them were in the batter instead of next to it. At one point, they just gave up on cleaning, because as soon as one thing was clean, something else got dirty. The second attempt, however, failed as well, because in his panic, Kenma had given Bokuto salt instead of sugar, and the other didn't even think about it twice. The cake was almost finished when they noticed, and they had to start all over again. It would have been a good point to just give up and admit defeat, but Bokuto is more stubborn than a rock, and Kenma has been in tunnel vision since he messed up the first time. Glass broke, the scale ran out of battery, and they had to get a little creative with the ingredients. But somehow, after 2 painful hours, the cake was supposed to take 45 minutes, the batter was in the oven. Kenma let himself slide down on the ground next to Bokuto. Let's never, ever do this again. Bokuto nodded weakly. Tetsu is going to kill us when he sees the kitchen. We need to clean up. Bokuto hummed in agreement. 5 more minutes. Kenma nodded and leaned against Bokuto's shoulder. 5 more minutes is fine. Against all odds, they still had time before the others would return. Everything was fine. Tetsu? The older felt more dead than alive after today's study session and was more than ready to just fall down on his bed and pass out. Have you gotten any messages from Ko or Kenma? No, why? He was dragging himself from the train and blindly followed Akaashi through the crowded station. Me neither. He'd usually send us a picture of whatever he's doing with Kenma, right? Maybe Kenma was too tired or is dreaming, and Bokuto is sulking because of that. Akaashi typed something on his phone. Nope, no stream. They were so close to home now that Bokuto could practically feel the soft blanket already. Kyoto isn't answering my texts. That sparked his interest. Everything before could easily be just a coincidence, but this was potentially a reason for concern. Maybe he just... Akaashi stopped and Kuroo collided ungracefully with the smaller. They arrived home, and for a moment, Kuroo wasn't sure what stopped the other. Slowly his brain caught up with the scene in front of him. A small cloud of smoke rose from the kitchen window, and a high-pitched sound echoed from inside. Immediately he forgot about his tiredness and stormed into the house. His body was faster than his mind, and Akaashi's attempts to stop him fell on deaf ears. As soon as he opened the door, he was met with a wave of heat and started coughing. His eyes were stinging from the smoke, and he hastily wiped the tears away to see clearly. Luckily, it didn't seem too bad yet, and there were no flames as far as he could tell. He blindly made his way towards the kitchen and prayed that his boyfriends were anywhere but there, where the smoke was the thickest. Without much success. Even through the smoke, he recognized both of them leaning against the kitchen counter. He quickly lifted Kenma over his shoulder and grabbed Bokuto's arm. With all his strength, he pulled them towards the hallway. As soon as he could see Akaashi through the still open door, he screamed his name. Akaashi! Help me with this! The raven had turned around and met him halfway. Take Kenma! He complied. Somehow, they managed to get out and end up on the cool grass in their front yard. What in hell made you think that was a good idea? His voice sounded raspy and had a broken edge to it as he screamed at Kuroo. The other found himself incapable of saying anything, too shocked by the sudden outburst of his beloved. Akaashi leaned on his arm as he tried to get up. His limbs were shaking. The last time Kuroo saw him this terrified was when Kenma fell from the counter and hit his head. Kuroo! What? Did you even use one goddamn brain cell before blindly running into a burning building? It wasn't full on burning. You didn't know that! Tears ran down Akaashi's cheeks. Akaashi... Have you... His voice broke. He breathed heavily as he tried to regain his composure. If you had been... If they died, and you died because you wanted to save them, what was I supposed to do without all of you? I can't live without... I can't... Keiji, it's okay. You're so selfish, Kuroo. You'd rather die than... I know. He crawled over to the other and hugged him tightly. Somewhere in the distance he heard sirens approaching fast. I wasn't thinking. I'm sorry. Akaashi nodded against his chest. Next to them, Bokuto stirred and seemed to wake up. He started coughing violently and got up on all fours. Before any of them got the chance to figure out what happened, a fire truck stopped in front of the house. Looks like one of the neighbors was smarter than us. Akaashi shook his head and answered Kuro's questioning look by pointing at his phone, which laid on the ground where he dropped it when Kuro called for help. Okay, so you were smarter than me. He was interrupted by another coughing fit. No surprise there. The firefighters got the situation under control rather quickly, and a small team of paramedics tended their injuries. They were questioned, but Kuro and Akaashi of course had no idea what happened, and Kenma and Bokuto weren't exactly thinking straight. Luckily, no one was seriously injured. The source of the smoke was just a burnt dish in the oven, and nothing had really caught fire. Kenma and Bokuto got minor poisoning by inhaling the smoke, but it was nothing life-threatening, and as long as none of them developed any worse symptoms than a sore throat, tiredness, and a slight cough, they could stay home. It was a relief, and Kuro and Akaashi promised to take good care of them. You two are officially banned from the kitchen. Kuro wrapped them both thoroughly in blankets, successfully turning Bokuto and Kenma into human blanket burritos. He took a step back and grinned proudly at his work. Kenma looked like he wanted to say something, but the taller hushed him. You heard what the paramedic said. You need to rest and your throats need to recover from the smoke, so no talking. He didn't need to look around to know that Bokuto looked at him with shocked puppy eyes. It almost made him laugh. Come on, don't sulk. Don't you think that this is a rather small price to pay for almost destroying our kitchen? Here, I made you tea with honey. That'll help. Akaashi handed both of them a mug. At least he tried, but they struggled a little to free their hands from the fluffy cages Kuro had created. I cleaned the worst parts, but I'm afraid it'll still take a while before the kitchen looks normal again. The two arsonists looked guiltily at their mugs. What was it you wanted to make anyway? Cake. When Kuro heard Bokuto's voice, his own throat seemed to ache in sympathy with how raspy it sounded. That must hurt. Hey, I said no talking. Bokuto whined, both from the pain and Kuro's comment. Akaashi gently leaned down and kissed his forehead. If you are extra careful and rest properly, you will be okay in no time. So, the cake. Why a cake? Kenma looked at him annoyed and raised an eyebrow as if asking if he was serious. Kuro rolled his eyes. Right. Was it for someone in particular? Bokuto nodded and pointed at them. Us? Wait, Kiji, please tell me it's not an anniversary. I'm so sorry if I forgot. No, Tetsu, it's not. The younger was almost amused at the panic the thought brought to Kuro's eyes. He was the one who kept the best track of birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, and any other occasion he and Bokuto could use as an excuse to spoil them and each other. So, just for fun? Bokuto nodded. Why? Tetsuro, Let them rest for now. We can talk about the details later when they are actually able to answer. Kenma crossed his arms and Bokuto looked at Akaashi with pleading eyes. I'm sorry. Ko. Kuroo stared at him disapprovingly. A whimper escaped his throat. Akaashi sighed. I know that you are sorry, Ko. He stepped behind the older and placed a gentle kiss on his forehead. Rest now. Everything is going to be fine. Tetsu and I got this. Bokuto's eyes widened and he looked like he wanted to protest. The best thing you can do now to make up for it is to rest. It'll help no one if you make it worse. The ace pouted, and the cute side from him and Kenma sulking almost made up for the chaos. Keiichi is right. We got this. You rest. He threw the remote in Kenma's direction and chuckled when it almost hit his face, while the other glared at him. Pick something to watch, and don't you dare say something. If I hear one tone, you can cook yourself dinner. Akaashi's eyes widened and he looked at Kuroo as if he was insane. But not in our kitchen. He left towards that room, with Akaashi following closely behind. I don't think we should ever let them close to any kitchen. Don't worry, I don't think they will. At least Kenma won't, most likely. I'm not so certain with Bokuto. Akaashi nodded slowly. They started cleaning the mess, which luckily just looked a lot worse than it actually was. Still, this was something they certainly did not expect to find here today. A few minutes in, Kuroo started coughing, and Akaashi stopped, putting the cleaning supplies aside for a moment. Tetsuro? Huh? Have the paramedics checked you as well? No. Kuroo. Kenma and Kotaro were more important at that moment. Akaashi looked at him sternly. Sit down, and I'll do the rest. No, Keiichi, I can't. Sit down. I'll do the rest. Kuroo sighed. I don't want to leave you alone with all of this. Akaashi didn't budge. The thing you said earlier about me being selfish. The younger froze. I'm sorry. Sit down, Kuroo. Rest. We can talk later. He turned towards the cleaning supplies again and continued, not sparing him another glance. Kuroo wanted to say something. Anything. But he didn't know what. It was almost like the time Keiichi pulled the fainting prank on them, just that their positions were reversed. And this was anything but a prank. In the end, it might not have been as dangerous as anticipated, but he couldn't know that. His decision to risk his life and potentially leave Akaashi completely on his own had been very much real. And Akaashi had every right to be angry at him. Kuroo just hoped that he would get the chance to make up for it and talk about it soon. Thanks for watching till the end. I hope you liked it. As you see, this is not completely finished. There's going to be a second part to this, which deals more with Akaashi's insecurities and, of course, the conflict that has arose between Kuroo and Akaashi. Not sure when I'm going to upload that, when I'm going to write it, but it definitely will be uploaded sometime in the future. Yeah, thank you for watching again. I hope you have a wonderful day.